Hi, hello. My name is Amy Natt, and I am the CEO of Aging Outreach Services, and this is All Things Aging.
And I'm Amy Obst, editor of OutreachNC, our monthly publication. And today we're talking about better sleep. Everybody needs better sleep,
Yes.
And it's often something we put at the bottom of our list of things to do.
Definitely catches up with you as you get older, though. So actually today, we're going to talk about, I found a really great article from the National Council on Aging, where they reviewed a lot of the research studies that have been done and looked at a lot of the sleep facts and statistics specifically toward older adults. And so we're going to sort of review that and focus on what they found today and see if maybe it can help some of you out there get some better sleep.
So start out with, what are some of the key takeaways from the study?
So I know we always hear, right? Get 8 hours of sleep and drink lots of water our whole life. It's hard to do, but the experts really do recommend 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night, even as a person gets older. So even the normal kind of aging pattern can affect sleep patterns. And there are certain things like insomnia or sleep apnea that tend to happen at a higher rate as a person gets older. And so we know that sleep is impacted, and we know that quality of sleep can play a role in longevity. So it's really important to kind of be aware of what your sleep patterns are, how much sleep you're getting, and hopefully how to get better quality sleep.
So then that begs the question, how does my sleep stack?
That's right. Am I getting enough?
Am I getting enough? What do people need to know about sleep and aging?
Napping.
Why does it matter? You kind of talked a little bit about that, but
yeah, I mean, it really, there really is a link to, and we'll get into some of the statistics later, but there really is a link to living longer and having a better quality of life when you have quality sleep. And so it can be hard, like you said, to know, like, am I sleeping too much, or my dad sleeps all day, or you nap all day and then you can't sleep at night. And so it's important to understand how those impact your sleep cycle, which we'll talk about. And then certainly anxiety and worry kind of related to aging and getting older can be an issue that impacts sleep, particularly for the older adult. Not getting enough sleep can have an impact, not only cognitively, but emotionally, physically. It can increase fall risk for older adults. And so it's important to know kind of what those facts are and understand how you can improve your sleep patterns.
So you mentioned quality of sleep,
Yes.
And part of that is understanding, I guess, the sleep cycles. What are the sleep cycles?
People talk about REM sleep all the time, and you're like, I don't know what that means. So we'll go over. So basically there's 4 stages of sleep cycle. So stage 1 is when you're sort of just starting to drift off to sleep, and your heart rate kind of slows, your muscle activity slows, your brain waves slow down. So that's sort of the first, 6-7 minutes of when somebody lays down and falls asleep. And then stage 2 is when you sort of enter that deeper sleep. And so your whole body is kind of starting to relax, your core temperature drops a little bit, and basically you're in that stage for about 10 to 25 minutes of sleep. And then you get into stage 3, which is your deepest sleep. So this is where your breathing will really slow down. This is when your mind and your body both feel kind of still, and that usually lasts about 20 to 40 minutes. And then stage 4 is what people talk about, is that sort of dream stage of sleep, or that REM sleep cycle. And a lot of people with sleep disturbances never reach that. And the reason that is important is because when you reach that stage 4 of kind of that deeper REM sleep is when you build stronger neural connections. Your brain can process your emotions. It makes sense of memory, of knowledge, of things you've sort of been maybe exposed to that day or thinking about. And so that stage 4, which is usually can be up to an hour, is really important to reach that stage of kind of deep sleep.
So that's like the integration stage.
Yes.
And that makes sense as to why, if that's the last phase, we often wake up like right after or during a dream.
Yeah, and you actually go through the same sleep cycle. If you get your full 7 to 9 hours of sleep, you've gone through the sleep cycle 4 to 6 times.
Wow.
But yeah, some people, if you wake up during that kind of REM stage, a lot of times that's when you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I just had this dream. You remember pieces of it, and so forth. But understanding even those kind of stages of sleep, maybe you can help identify like where you're getting. And so it's important to know kind of how that works, and getting that kind of what they call restorative sleep, where people really feel refreshed and relaxed, is dependent on getting through all of those stages without interruption. And that unfortunately becomes a little less likely or a little more challenging as a person ages.
Why is that?
So there's, I guess, kind of different reasons, but we'll go back to what kind of research showed. But as a person gets older, I can never say this, is circadian rhythm, your body clock, there tends to be some changes to it, right? So it's not necessarily disrupted just because of aging, but it certainly can change as a person gets older and make it harder to fall asleep, and as many people have learned to stay asleep. About 20 to 60% of older adults report taking naps during the daytime and then having trouble falling asleep at night. I've had clients that happens and they're napping until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they're up until 2 or 3 in the morning, and eventually their days and nights are getting flipped. We see it in facilities all the time if there's a lack of activity to keep somebody, or even at home, if there's a lack of stimulation during the day and someone's sleeping during the day, then suddenly they're up all night. And so those daytime naps, you got to watch them. Polypharmacy is another one, and that's when somebody's on multiple medications, right? If they're on 5 or more medications, it's a pretty good bet that one of those is going to impact your sleep one way or the other, or change sort of that body clock. And so obviously that tends to impact older adults more. And then they have found that middle-aged adults, right, this is us, if we're getting fewer than 6 hours of sleep at night, it really can impact the brain over time. And they found that it can be linked to different types of dementia and even stroke risk. And so this really starts way before you become an older adult. I mean, think about infants and setting up sleep patterns. I mean, that's something that lifelong is an issue. And then lastly, one of the studies that they looked at showed that adults 61 to 86 revealed that just one night of bad sleep can actually speed up the aging process. And so if you're getting repeated nights of no sleep, it certainly can start to take its toll and can accelerate that aging process.
I think I read that just getting a couple nights of 6 hours, so that's not even like 2.
Right.
You're the equivalent of driving drunk.
Yeah,
That's how much it affects your cognitive ability.
Can start to impact you. And so people that have chronic insomnia or sleep apnea or things like that, we'll talk about this, but it's really important to talk to their healthcare provider and to address that. If you can't, resolve it on your own, because it really can start to impact a lot of different areas of life. So,
what did the study reveal about sleep duration?
So this was interesting too. And again, we'll link this article because they looked at a bunch of different studies, and so it's interesting. But the older we get, unfortunately, the more likely we are to live with some type of condition. It could be arthritis, it could be sleep apnea, it could be medications we're on, but unfortunately you tend to have to get up and pee more. And so I have clients that are up every hour to go to the bathroom. And
that's disrupting that cycle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how would you ever get through those 4 stages, or how would you ever reach REM sleep if you're getting up repeatedly during the night? And so that can really start to catch up and have some of those other side effects that we saw. Social isolation and lack of a daily schedule, that goes back to that kind of being stimulated during the day so that you can sleep at night. So those will negatively impact the sleep cycle. And then they found that shortened sleep is linked to adverse cardiovascular events. And we talked about stroke, but even heart attacks. In one study, they looked at women age 70 plus, showed that getting fewer than 5 hours of sleep at night increased their risk specifically for falls and fractures.
Wow.
And so these are real life consequences. And then men who were 65 and up, whose sleep was interrupted or shortened, demonstrated poorer physical functioning as measured by they looked at their grip strength and their gait or their mobility speed. And so, these are real things. A fall can really change a lot about your quality of life and mobility. So if getting a good night's sleep can do even a little bit to prevent that, then it's really important to really try to increase that quality sleep at night.
Did the study mention anything about sleep partners, or like how your spouse might affect your sleep?
Yeah, I guess if they wake you up because they're snoring or they roll around a lot, that could definitely.
Yeah, I wonder how
I wonder if people slept better when they had different rooms in the olden days. That would be a good study.
That would be a good study.
Uh,
Okay, so now that we know how important sleep is,
yes.
what are some tips for getting better sleep other than getting your own room?
Yeah, so if we look at how sleep impacts health and health impacts sleep, if one is going to be poor, then the other one is going to be poor. And so we'll talk about what some of the tips were to help somebody get a better night's sleep, and hopefully you can integrate these. So one of the things that they talk about is getting a consistent sleep schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time, it helps to reinforce kind of your body learns that, and it helps to reinforce kind of what your natural sleep cycle is. So that's important. This one, I think people struggle with designating your bedroom for sleep, right? So this trains your brain again that when I go in this room, I'm not here to watch TV, to eat, to work, or scroll social media. Like, I'm coming in here to sleep. And so that's a hard one for people, but designating that bedroom just for sleep really will eventually increase the quality of sleep and the amount of sleep that you're getting at night. Avoiding food and beverage. When do you eat dinner?
I try to eat dinner at 6
Oh,
o'clock,
okay.
but I've been eating later, and
Yeah.
it definitely affects sleep.
Yeah.
And like digestion, and it has a big impact.
Yeah, a full stomach can disrupt your sleep. A lot of us, you unwind at night, you have a glass of wine, 2 glasses of wine, but actually caffeine and alcohol can definitely disrupt sleep as well. And so trying to avoid those type of things can be super important. Again, you don't want to increase the need to get up and urinate during the night or anything else digestively related. And so trying to stop eating or drinking an hour before you go to bed is helpful so that those things aren't disturbing your sleep. And then one that is, I think, at any age and is becoming a growing problem, they refer to as resist the urge to doom scroll. That means you're laying there in bed and you're on your phone and you're scrolling. So they know from research that any of these digital devices, again, is going to kind of disrupt the body clock. It's going to stimulate the brain, and those things are going to make it harder for you to fall asleep. So it's kind of that hour rule again of shutting those devices off an hour before you go to bed, not having them right next to your bed on your nightstand where you hear a notification or you see something light up, really removing that phone or whatever device you're on, and avoid the urge, in the middle of the night to pick it up and look at it or just sit and start scrolling again.
People are going back to like old alarm clocks.
Yeah.
They're taking their phones.
I did that for my son in high
Yes.
school because he was scrolling on his phone. So we did the exact same thing and his sleep got better. It works.
Yeah.
Developing a nightly ritual, right? So again, you're going to train your body and your brain that this is my ritual an hour before bed. I'm turning off the devices. I'm done with my snacks. I'm done with my beverages. And maybe I'm going to take a bubble bath, or I'm going to sit on my porch. Maybe I'm going to write in my journal. They have all kinds of sound machines. I have an air filter in my room to add kind of white noise. They have kind of music for kind of meditation and deep sleep. So any of those things that sort of replace the other routines that are causing disruption to your sleep will really help you develop a good, what's your nightly routine? Is it good?
Oh yeah, it's great.
Okay.
When I had kids, I realized, oh my gosh, my daughter woke up at 4:45, and I thought, I'm gonna have to get my sleep routine together because I have to get up. And I worked on all of these things, and I'm maintaining that consistent sleep schedule because I used to sleep in on the weekends. Yeah. And then Monday I couldn't go to sleep, and then it starts to cycle back and forth. Yeah, and also I do things that are like Pavlovian. I'll use the same lotion scent. So I'm trying to signal to my body, we're winding down, we're doing this thing. This is my ritual routine because
scent's a really good one. That's a really good one. Another tip is kind of managing sleep anxiety. And so this could be kind of 2 forms of anxiety. This could be, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get to sleep tonight. I do this when I have a big presentation or something, a big meeting the next day. I lay there all night and think, oh my gosh, I need to get to sleep. Oh my gosh, I need to sleep. Or before a trip.
I'm not going to be able to sleep.
I'm not going to wake up. I'm going to miss the alarm.
Terrible. Yeah.
So trying to manage that anxiety with some of the other tips, and then just in general, like things from the day, like being able to replace or turn off your brain if there's
Right.
something you're worried about. With some of those other kind of soothing activities, it is helpful because that anxiety will have you up all night thinking about it. I often have meetings in my head and whole conversations, and I don't sleep well.
Well, and with CBT for insomnia,
Mm-hmm.
your therapist will work with you to write in a journal before bed
Yeah.
to create that kind of routine and what to say. One thing that helped me was when I had anxiety about not getting enough sleep,
Right.
the thought that even rest is good for my body. So I didn't feel like I had to fall asleep,
Yeah.
and that helped me fall asleep.
It does help. And one some people overlook is consider a new mattress.
Yes.
Like some mattresses, it can be a big investment, but every 8 to 10 years at least, you should replace your mattress. But it could be the type of mattress you're sleeping on that's a problem, too hard, too soft, memory foam, spring. Some things are better for side sleepers. Some things are better for people on their back. It could be your pillow. That's the one area maybe to splurge a little bit and spoil yourself is to have soothing colors in the bedroom, bedding that's comfortable to you.
Make it cool, like
Yeah.
a good temperature.
Yep. And so those type of things, if you're gonna splurge on something, that's a really good splurge to do something that's gonna help you get a better night's sleep because
Well, I've had a lot of
really
people
is an issue.
Tell me that they get, the mattresses with different levels.
Yes.
And that because their partner might need a hard mattress or they might want whatever. And
Yeah.
they even have cooling and heating mattresses. And it has immensely benefited their sleep.
And you can go into stores now and they'll let you lay on the bed and try it out.
Yeah.
But bedding can make a difference too. I just recently replaced my comforter because it was just a little bit itchy and a little heavy, but I was like, I just bought it. And then I thought, what am I doing? So even some of those little things, can really, if you sort of try the combination of things we've talked about, give it several months and see if it makes a difference. And if you're getting better quality sleep, then that's great. If you find that you're having consistent problems, it is important to talk to a healthcare provider. There are sleep studies that they can do to try to see if there's something medically going on. Certainly in the counseling world, there are things that you can help people sort of establish those better routines at night. What are some other treatment type things that you guys do?
Oh, one thing that we work on a lot is insomnia and anxiety are often linked with chronic pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a loop of I'm in pain, I'm not going to be able to sleep, I can't sleep, I have more pain, and it just goes on and on. And if you can help a client break that loop, and anticipate calmer, better sleep, have visualizations that you can do, just talk about the anxiety and the chronic pain. A lot of times there's emotion about the pain.
Sure.
And so when you can process that, it's not as heavy just all day,
That
but
makes
especially
sense.
at night. So there's a lot that can be done.
And it goes back to good sleep promotes good health,
Right.
good health promotes good sleep, good sleep promotes longevity. So
Yeah.
it is
And
all
higher
really
quality
connected.
of life.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.